piece. Here's Kobe White. Back in the mix tonight. Got it to Vucevic. A fake. White for the lead. No. Backside rebound. Okoro saved it. To Jones. 5 seconds left. Vucevic inside.
What a pass. What a pass from Trey Jones.
Little things leading to big things. Isaac Okoro working himself to keep that possession alive for the Bulls. To Trey Jones, and Trey Jones with his laser eyesight, a laser pass over the Vooch in the final 4 seconds to put this Bulls team up for good. And they get this win over the Utah Jazz, getting some revenge back from that first game we saw these two teams match up against on November 16th. Bulls lost that one in double overtime, but different story tonight as this Bulls team, KG. We're looking at some of the stats from this ball game. Really were able to exploit some things on Utah's defense.
They really were, specifically inside the paint. You look at that, points in the paint, 60 tonight. And what about that bench?
Woo,
61 points from the bench tonight, 7 players in double figures.
Yes.
And we have 35 assists. It's the formula. Like we said, copy and paste. You get these numbers, you will win the basketball game. Had it not been for Sensabaugh, the Jazz are not in this game. He just was on one tonight, okay? 43 points for the young fella, 5 rebounds. And Keyonte George, I mean, you said this earlier. You thought that he was one of the better young players in this league. Yeah. He proves that each and every night. That guy has a nice game.
Yeah, has a motor, can score from all 3 levels, but also has a knack for knowing when his Jazz team needs a basket. And you're right, KG. If it wasn't for Brice Sensabaugh's 43 points, it would have looked something similar to Utah against Charlotte last Saturday, where the Jazz lost by 55 points. Mm-hmm. So Brice Sensabaugh was phenomenal for that Jazz team, but we'll talk about that later on and more so keep the focus on this Bulls team. And we want to specifically go to that fourth quarter. It was a 12-point Bulls lead, KG, but with Sensabaugh, Keyonte George, they really turned up their efforts on the offensive end and really got themselves back within this ball game and used that rally to cut down within that Bulls lead. And here's a pivotal play right here on the drive for Keyonte George. Kobe White felt that he went straight up. He was vertical, but the officials thought otherwise, and George went to the line to tie this ball game with those 2 free throws. But it's also the play after, KG, when you look at this drive here with George. Recognition from Kobe is there, but just, vertical, yes. But as Adam broke it down, it wasn't a point A to point A jump. It was a point A to point B jump for Kobe.
Right, it was. And I thought it was pretty good defense. But, when it's a close game like that, you got to go straight up and not go from point A to point B. But right here, Kobe, look, he's a veteran now. That's inexcusable.
Yeah.
Okay, that's inexcusable. You cannot throw the basketball away at the end of games like that. I mean, it's just too valuable of a possession.
Yeah, and you're seeing some of these clutch moments right now for this team. This is another clutch ball game for the Bulls. That was a big block from Vooch, one of his 2 blocks, and there's Trey Jones trying to save that errant pass from Kobe White. Kobe has 17 turnovers in the last 4 games. So to your point, KG, too much of a veteran to let that happen, but was able to make some plays and some reads, which we'll get to when it comes to our Toyota play of the game to help this Bulls team get this victory. Trey Jones, I mean, he's one of those dudes that, again, easy like Sunday morning. He's timely. Brice Sensabaugh, speaking of timely, 43 points. We were looking at this, Kendall, and a reverse pivot in that moment. Yeah. That's elite footwork right there from Brice Sensabaugh.
Yeah, elite footwork and great play drawn up by Utah to get the man that had 41 points at the time the basketball, and perfect fake. I mean, if I'm Billy Donovan, I'm still in that play. Yeah. Okay, because that was a great play. But listen, we say this all the time. If you do not take an opponent seriously, he then becomes serious. Yes. Okay, I don't know whether the Bulls took these guys seriously or not at the beginning of the game because they did not have their leading scorer in the game. But you saw what NBA players are capable of.
Yeah.
Okay, they're in the NBA for a reason. And this Utah team got a lot of young players. Okay, and they are competitive most nights. They don't win most of the games, but they are competitive and they are very good players. And they got a lot of draft picks coming too.
They do.
This Utah team, and what they remind me of? They remind me of what the Detroit Pistons were 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, building through the draft. Getting some young guys to get after it, right?
Exactly. I mean, this team is going to be scary in about 2-3 years.
Yeah, you can see it right now, obviously, with Keyonte George, Brice Sensabaugh. I mean, for a lot of people that didn't know who Brice Sensabaugh was and is, well, you know now because he had 43 points tonight, but in a losing effort. And also, KG, to that point of this young group, young, hungry, getting after things. But when you go to that final play of the ball game with the Bulls and what put them up 128-126, which is our Toyota play of the game, you're going to look at this Bulls team and the energy, the urgency is there. This is the second night of a back-to-back. Watch the effort from these Bulls players, KG. I mean, we were watching this in the studio, and we're really applauding this team.
No, we did, and, you know, it started off with Kobe, Isaac Okoro, of course, right there with the great save. Then Trey with the one leg. Caleb Williams sidearm pass.
Should we start calling him Iceman? Should we call?
No, we're not going to.
Okay, we're not calling Trey Iceman. Okay, all right.
No, that Iceman coming belongs over to the number 18 at Soldier Field. So, but the Bulls, you saw veteran leadership and experience on that play right there.
Yes.
Okay, Kobe White did a great job of picking and rolling with Vooch, then running to the open spot. Vooch did not have it. Kobe, I like the shot that Kobe took. You know, I'm gonna go with that shot each and every time. But you see right here, where Kobe gets down lane, passes it to Vooch, runs to the open spot. I'm good with that shot.
Yeah.
Okay, but look at Isaac Okoro in there fighting, gets the basketball. Now Trey doing the Caleb Williams impression, throwing it to Vooch, and Vooch doing the exact thing that he should have done, planting himself as a big man in the paint.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where he should be. I mean, as we mentioned before, 22 points in the paint out of his 35 tonight, which is great. That's where he needs to be each and every time. You heard Stacey talk about it a number of times on today's telecast, that when Vooch concentrates and focuses on being in the paint, he goes back to Vooch, the all-star Vooch.
Yes, he does. He does.
And the Bulls need to be consistent in getting him the basketball in that position.
And we talked about this during halftime about Vooch, and we had the highlights of Vooch because he had 15 points in those first half. But you mentioned that he got going early inside the paint, and that opened up things from the arc. So you establish and set the tone there, and then you open it up for the rest of the game, which we know which Vooch can do. So a season high with those 35 points, KG. Vooch was on one tonight, and the guys were finding him.
Look, fundamental pick and roll first, then fundamental pick and pop. That's exactly what he did now. Look, he's staying in the lane. Give me the basketball, guys. I'm going to hold my hand up. There you go. That's traditional basketball right there. I love that.
I was going to say, that's back when you were on the court, KG.
Yeah, and then Vooch has the presence of mind now to stand out beyond the three-point arc and now drive, which is what he was doing earlier in the season when they were 6-1. He did that a lot. You see right there, he searches out the basketball. Perfect pick and roll again. Fundamental basketball. You guys hear Stacey talk about it all the time. It's an easy game if you let it be.
There you go.
It is.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the highlights that we saw from Vooch on that 35-point effort, catching the basketball in places where he can score. The pick and pop, just catch and shoot, rolling after the screen, just catch with a little flip touch that we know that Vooch is all too well with that, and just very smooth and just get great finesse on that shot. So he's getting the basketball in areas where he doesn't have to back a guy down or make 3 or 4 moves. And Vooch is never a guy that makes 3 or 4 moves. But the point is making sure that he gets the basketball where he can just not really think, just make a move and score.
And who did he run most of those pick and rolls with?
Trey Jones. Yeah.
Because Trey Jones knows where to get you the basketball. A good quarterback will throw you open. That's exactly what Trey Jones was doing with Vucevic tonight. He was throwing him open, whereas what you just mentioned, he did not have to put the basketball down. He just got the basketball and went right up with it.
Yeah, it makes life very easy. And I'm sure for a lot of point guards that I'm going to say this to right now are going to smile, because when you can make life easy for a teammate where you can just get them the basketball, where they don't have to think, they can just go up and score, then it makes everything great. And Trey Jones, 8 assists for himself. But you mentioned the 36 assists that the Bulls have as a team. Kobe White has 7 assists too. But looking at Ayo Dosunmu, let's focus in on Ayo, because we had the conversation when it came to chalk it up of Ayo wanting and needing to be more aggressive tonight. And he was aggressive tonight. 15 points, as I mentioned, the 6 assists, and not second-guessing decisions, KG. He made his mind up right away when he would get that basketball and what he wanted to do.
No, did not have an Ayo Dosunmu type game last night against the Houston Rockets, but all good players come back after they've had a subpar game and reach their standard. That's exactly what Ayo Dosunmu did today. Continues to pay dividends, 15 points, as you said before, 2 rebounds, dished the basketball out for 6 assists. And he's become such an integral part of this team that if Ayo Dosunmu is not in the game, I don't think that the Bulls really have success.
Yeah.
You know, because he's such an important part of coming off of that bench. Of course, the bench had 61 points tonight. also, if you plug him in as a starter, he's going to give you starter numbers as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, 15 points again for Ayo, one of 5 players off that Bulls bench that scored in double figures.
That's amazing.
That's big time, right? I mean, of the 7 that the Bulls had scoring double figures, 5 were off the bench. So the contributions from Ayo, Patrick Williams had a nice game. Dalen Terry, we were mentioning here with his energy with his Bulls team, just making sure, one, that he's sprinting out in transition, getting those baskets, knocked down some threes as well. So they had those contributions, but more so getting back to Ayo and him understanding, okay, against Houston last night wasn't an Ayo-type game, turned down some shots. Billy Donovan spoke to that post-game after the Houston loss. And we saw the Ayo that we're accustomed to seeing this year, where it's catch and shoot on the perimeter, but also drive the lane, too. And so there were a couple of plays, KG, especially in that fourth quarter, which pushed that Bulls lead up to double digits for the first time. This is the first play here. And this is something that we discussed on Chalk It Up during pregame, where he had a situation where he could have faked Steven Adams instead of kicking the ball out to Patrick Williams for a missed 3. That time, Ayo kept the basketball, scored it, and this time going downhill on Isaiah Collier for the and 1.
Right. Hey, listen, get in the paint. Get paint touches. Why? Because you're either going to score on a high percentage field goal attempt, you're going to get fouled, or you're going to be able to kick it to your teammate. That's why you see Ayo attacking the paint so much. It's a big part of his offense. I just wish that every once in a while he would take that open mid-range.
Yeah.
That's it.
Don't be allergic to the mid-range. It's all right. It's not going to hurt. Okay, you can take it and knock it down.
Ayo won't shoot it at all. He won't. It's either a 3 or all the way to the rack.
Look, I think if Ayo shoots a mid-range, you're going to hear Kendall Gill just all the way from our green room shouting, there we go, Ayo right there with it. But you're seeing these 2 plays again that we discussed and broke down. But here he is, and Billy Donovan, and everyone really knows this on this Bulls team, of what makes Ayo effective, and that's getting downhill, getting those shoulders against his defender and scoring.
No, he is. And look, Ayo is a big guy. I mean, he may look small out there on the TV screen, but when you see him in person, he's 6'5", with big, broad shoulders, with long arms. And, you know, he presents an imposing figure to smaller guards.
Yes, he does.
Okay? And that's why he gives Trae Young so many problems. That's why he gives all the guards that are smaller problems, because defensively he just overwhelms them with his size.
Yeah, and speaking of defensively with Ayo, the Bulls had 10 steals tonight.
Yep.
Ayo had 3 of them. Trae Jones had 4 of them. So speaking of Ayo's 3 steals, let's go to one of them with our Illinois Lottery Defensive Player of the Game.